Hey, it's the DETOUR.
It's question time again, and this time we're gonna get a little spooky. Do you think ghosts ever get bored of haunting the same place? You know, I think the fascination of the afterlife does go away after a while because it is, eternity, and it is forever and kind of always has been and, will be. It's that confusing thing that we can't understand being on this physical plane. But I would imagine that it would probably be a lot easier to get bored in just a house rather than maybe a factory or like a museum or, the woods or something. There's always something new to see, If people in prison can make time pass really fast, I guess that ghost could probably find a way too. Maybe they never get bored, but in my opinion, I think that it's very highly that they will. Maybe it's kind of like Jack in the Box, where it's like, I can't listen to that song anymore. If you've never seen that Amazing Jonathan sketch, you've got to see that. Amazing Jonathan, Jack in the Box, you'll die laughing. It's hysterical. But in death, there is not the sweet relief of death. That is where you are. So as long as you've got unfinished business, assuming that that's a thing, because we're basing everything off of Casper, if that's what I'm going to go with, then yeah, boredom is probably very highly. If you were a ghost, where would you haunt and what type of pranks would you pull? I would imagine that there's ways that you could physically interact, or maybe it depends on what kind of a person you were, or maybe it depends on what you believed. I don't know, but I've always said that I would love to be able to send messages of some sort, but instead of writing on the mirror, I love you, I probably would write something like, if I want to mess with someone, it would kind of be like, look behind you, but like they're looking in the mirror. I'm not really even a prankster. I don't like doing that stuff. I don't like being on the butt end of pranks, but maybe if I get bored, I'll find a way to be able to prank people. Ooh, maybe I could do the Dane Cook thing, where I leave a lava lamp in a room where it's not supposed to be, or I move their lava lamp, All the lights in the house shut off, and the next thing you know, there's a faint red glow in the corner, and it's like, oh no, the hippie ghost! Just because I medicate with medical marijuana doesn't mean that I am a hippie, but maybe in another life I would be. Dimension questions. That's a fun one. After having the experiences that you and your brother have had, can you sense if a location feels off? I am dead to that side of the universe. I've been many places that I have never picked up on things that people around me are, like whether it's visual or if it's audible, that kind of a thing. But then again, there's also human nature. Sometimes you know that you're being watched, so you have to be sure that you're all right, and you want to make sure that you check everything. I'm the type of guy that has to move the shower curtain whenever I'm home alone, because I know for a fact that somebody could be behind it. And it's not even really a paranormal thing. It's honestly more so just the fact that, man, like somebody legit could hide there. Closets, all that kinds of stuff. Like I always check everything just to be sure. But as far as like sensing anything from the other side, I don't have that, but it's just something that I have to rely on with everybody else that can. Do you think there are spirits and cryptids that are more terrifying from a particular culture than others? I'm telling you right now, any cryptid that is in Native American culture is terrifying. Just look up skinwalkers and wendigos. That will tell you everything you need to know about what to stay away from and why it's so terrifying. Especially when they make an action like whistling. Like being out in the middle of the woods, you can't whistle because it will attract something or will let something know that you're there or be an open invitation. I actually had a friend of mine who was dating somebody that is in the Native American community, and he stressed to me to never, ever, ever whistle at night, especially in the woods. Now, I know some of you are watching this and you're thinking to yourself, oh, that's bullshit. Don't do it. Please. Please. It's those types of monsters and entities that are very patient and will wait and watch and do whatever it takes to either replace or to feast or to take over, whatever you want to say. Native American culture absolutely steals the show for me. It is something that I don't like thinking about a lot, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. When was your first paranormal encounter? I remember laying in my bed. I think I was maybe about 5 or 6 years old, and I was trying to sleep. I don't know whether or not I was, restless or if I was just laying down to go to sleep. I remember that I looked over at my toy chest and I saw my blocks, like those little wooden blocks, they had letters and numbers on them and shapes, different things like that. And I remember seeing them start to float, and they formed this, I don't know how to describe it. It was almost like this black mass, right? Then what I saw was something that had almost like arms like this, almost kind of like a hunched monkey. It was really weird. And when I blinked, it moved, and it got closer every time that I blinked. Eventually, I pulled my covers over my head, and I just figured I had a bad dream. It was such a terrifying experience, but it was also like in a very weird state that I don't really remember. I could have dreamt it, but it was just very, very vivid. And I remember just being so terrified. So fast forward a couple of years ago, I'm talking with mom, and she actually talked about when we lived at this particular house. So I told her my story, and she kind of had this moment of, wow, yeah, I guess, yeah, you didn't really play with your blocks anymore after that. I thought that was kind of odd. To which I said, well, you know, I mean, nothing ever happened in that house, so I'm sure that it was a fluke. Come to find out that Eric actually had his own experience in that house, and I will go ahead and leave that story in the description below. It's on the campfire. It's where I tell scary stories, but my story and his story is on there, and it's something that still to this day chills me to the bone. It's just, it's so wild. But I know for me, that was my very first one. So I don't know what Eric's was. Maybe that was his first one, but who knows? If aliens were real, would you rather face a xenomorph or a demogorgon? And what tools or weapons would you use to try and fight and kill the thing? Oh man, there's no contest here. 100%, there's absolutely no contest. I am taking the Demogorgon 100%. And I'm going to tell you why. The Xenomorph is so terrifying that if you pair it up with any other icon of horror, I will legit take any other icon in a room by myself for 24 hours before I will ever spend 10 minutes with the Xenomorph, ever.
But why is that? The Demogorgon's definitely just as scary as Jason.
Jason does not have acidic blood. Jason does not latch onto your face and then birth out of your chest. Jason, I can at least run from, and people have survived with him. And you could argue that people have survived with the Xenomorph, but my God, there is nothing more terrifying than being in the same space with the Xenomorph. I've played Alien Isolation, and it was way too real for me. As far as what I would take the Demogorgon down with, I mean, a shotgun, I mean, that would do it. Even a chainsaw. I mean, they can't be that dangerous in the grand scheme of things because Dustin had one as a pet and it ate his cat, so Stranger Things, if you haven't seen it, you definitely should. It's incredible. What urban legends do you believe could be 100% true and real? I'm gonna say this right now. Urban legends can be paper thin, and I think that it's something that people need to assess and they need to think about before they go out and they try to investigate. And the reason why is because urban legends like that's what it's based on. It's the fact that somebody meddles in something that they shouldn't be. So whether or not it is paranormal or if it's physical or if it's just something that's dangerous, but it's also something that you need to research and you need to know for sure what's going on. So I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of weird. My light turned off while I'm talking about this stuff, so that was real. That's a real thing. Okay. What was I talking about? That just sent a chill down my spine. That was so weird. Whew. Might burn some sage in here later on. But no, urban legends, I think any of them could be real. I think any of them could be real. Again, I am very open in my belief system, but in the same hand, it's all about meddling. Don't meddle and you won't find out. AJ, he's got a question on here. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Hope you feel better, man. Why are all the ghosts from like the 1800s and not like maybe the 1960s? This is a very fair point, and it's something that you always see in movies and television and also real life is that it's like, oh, it's somebody in a Victorian dress or some guy with like, you know, a fedora or something like that. Especially that little kid in Insidious, like fuck that shit. That's something that kept me up for weeks besides the lipstick face demon. But it is usually just old time stuff, and it even kind of makes me think of, you know, the Joe Rogan thing where he was like, dude, like why don't you ever see ghosts on the beach or something? You know, like you would think that people would be able to see it or maybe somebody would catch something, but no, beaches seem to be pretty peaceful. I'm waiting for the day that like a SoundCloud rapper is seen at the end of a hallway or something like that. Like, oh man, little Windex is haunting the bar. Oh shit. Oh man. Oh, ghosts are only from the 1800s. That's it. That's after that, there's a cutoff in the spiritual world. Ron, why aren't there ghosts of dinosaurs? Sometimes I just see things in my head and it just doesn't translate well. Like, could you imagine opening up your curtains at night and there's just a ghost T-Rex? Makes you wonder if it would make sound or if it would just be staring at you or some shit. Doing that Stanley Kubrick stare where it's all just like, I'm gonna eat you. Either that or be chased by a bunch of glowing compies, you know, some like, you know, well, yeah, compies, the little ones. Yeah. Either that or be chased by a bunch of blue glowing compies or turkey. No, not turkey. I was trying to say raptors, but raptors are the size of turkeys because they're much smaller because Steven Spielberg embellished a bit. I think that's something we should investigate. We should see if lizards have souls, and if that's the case, where's the ghost T-Rex? I want proof! And finishing off, we have, if you were really in a situation where paranormal stuff was happening to you, where do you draw the line? Meaning, what would have to happen for you to turn tail and run instead of trying to figure out what's going on? I will say that I am dude, it did it again. It did it again. Why is it doing it again? This is weird. Mind you, what is going on? Oh man, am I just supposed to do this one in the dark? Like, is that what this is? Okay, we'll do this one like this, because apparently the universe wants that light to be off. This is legit scary. I'm like, I gotta finish this. So number one, always trust your instinct. That's what I believe in, is that if you're uncomfortable being somewhere, even if you don't sense anything, if you're just like, nah, man, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be walking down this road. I shouldn't be doing this. That's the best time to get out of there. For me personally, it's one of those that if I hear something that deliberately tells me to leave or get out, I'm leaving. I don't need to investigate. That's none of my business, and I don't need to be there. Physical violence is also something too. So, you know, I don't want to be hurt. I also want to make sure all my fingers and stuff are safe because I play guitar. So anything that would damage my hands, my fingers, all that stuff, like, nah, I'm out of there. I'm not doing it. But yep. This has been this paranormal question episode, and I'm going to see if I can fix my light. If you guys have any questions that you want answered, comment them below and I might do it in the next video. Until then, hit all the buttons and I'll see you guys next time. Adios. What the fuck is going on?